I believe my sister was upset about my promotion, but then her ex shared that our mom had a plan to control both of us. I never suspected my sister was envious of my recent promotion until her ex boyfriend exposed a disturbing plot orchestrated by our mother to keep us under her control. I, a 28-year-old woman, am overwhelmed by the complexities of my relationship with my stepsister, Fiona, who is 25. The narrative of our family's dissolution is lengthy, filled with essential details that led to our current strife. Our blended family formed when I was 8 and Fiona was 5, following the union of my father, Tom, 55, and Camilla, 52, Fiona's mother. My mother had passed away when I was just 4, and my father raised me alone until he met Camilla. She, a single mother to Fiona, seamlessly embraced me as her own from the moment she married my father. Camilla supported me as if I were her biological daughter, attending my school functions, assisting with homework, and celebrating every major milestone with me. I naturally came to refer to her as Mom. Growing up, Fiona and I developed an inseparable bond, undeterred by our 3-year age difference. I was the older sister helping her with math homework, while she assisted me in selecting outfits for dates. Together, we spent countless nights envisioning our futures, filled with shared dreams and aspirations. In high school, we vowed to work together someday. Fiona, initially struggling with coding in college, often received my help through lengthy video calls to grasp complex concepts. When she graduated and pursued a career in tech, mirroring my path, I felt immense pride. Our dream was realized 3 years ago when I recommended her for a junior developer position at the tech company where I served as a project manager. Fiona excelled in her role, showcasing her brilliance. Working side by side was a dream come true, and for the first 2 years, our professional relationship flourished. I dedicated myself entirely to my career during this time, often working late, tackling unwanted projects, and even spending my vacations earning additional certifications. Though Fiona playfully chided me for my diligence, our rapport remained warm and supportive. Over lunch, we would exchange stories, she about her dating adventures, and I about life with my husband, Mark, who is 30. The seeds of discord were sown 3 months ago when my company declared an opening for a senior manager position. The competition was stiff, entailing multiple rounds of interviews, elaborate presentations, and a challenging case study. My excitement knew no bounds when I secured the job, and naturally, the first person I informed after my husband, Mark, was Fiona. However, her lukewarm response, merely uttering "oh" before abruptly hanging up, should have tipped me off to the brewing storm. Initially, I dismissed it as shock, assuming she needed time to process the news, but her behavior at work began to shift noticeably. Fiona avoided me, and when our paths did cross, she'd make snide remarks suggesting that I had a knack for ingratiating myself with the upper management, or that some of us had to strive harder to gain recognition. Concerned, I attempted to address these changes with her, but she brushed off my concerns, insisting she was fine. Soon after, I learned my new role as senior manager would place me in charge of several development teams, including Fiona's. Wanting to avoid any appearance of favoritism, I consulted HR. They assured me that as long as I maintained meticulous records of our interactions, there shouldn't be an issue. But Fiona's attitude worsened. She began arriving late to meetings or missing them altogether. Her work suffered, her code quality plummeted, and her teammates reported that she was unresponsive. To protect myself, I documented every exchange and copied HR, as Fiona had begun to misrepresent what was said in our conversations. The situation escalated when she tearfully complained to our parents that I was using my position to overshadow her, claiming I set her up to fail to satisfy my own ego. Our parents, Camilla and Tom, proposed a family dinner to resolve these tensions. At this dinner, Fiona accused me of imposing unrealistic deadlines to undermine her, even though these timelines were dictated by our clients, not by me. The breaking point arrived last month during a pivotal client presentation, a project worth millions. Fiona's team was set to showcase new software features they had developed. Tragically, she called in sick with a migraine the night before the presentation. Regrettably, I found myself stepping in for Fiona during the crucial presentation when she fell ill. What I uncovered in the code was alarming. Critical components were intentionally compromised, complete with scornful annotations such as "ask your star manager to fix this," and "bet you wish you had a better developer now." This discovery was a ticking bomb that could have obliterated our client relationship. Faced with no other viable option, I escalated the matter to HR and our director. Initially, Fiona denied her involvement, but as the evidence mounted, logs clearly showing her last-minute alterations, she confessed, claiming it was a misguided attempt at humor. The gravity of her actions was undeniable, and regrettably, the company had to let her go for intentionally jeopardizing a significant client project. Camilla, overwhelmed by the situation, implored me tearfully to salvage Fiona's job, suggesting that we could have resolved the matter internally as a family. However, the severity of Fiona's actions transcended familial ties. It was a deliberate threat to our company's integrity and my professional standing. While my father understood the necessity of my actions, he pondered if there could have been another resolution. In the aftermath, Fiona bombarded me with a mix of tearful apologies and bitter accusations. The situation escalated when she appeared at my doorstep, accusing me of ruining her life until my husband, Mark, intervened, nearly involving the police. I made the painful decision to sever contact with Fiona, blocking her and insisting on no further communication. The sister I knew seemed irrevocably changed, and trust was shattered. Mark stands firmly by my side, acknowledging that Fiona's own choices led to these consequences. Yet, the fallout within my family weighs heavily on me. I acted decisively to protect both my career and the company, but the disintegration of familial bonds is profoundly distressing. I appreciate the community's support, and to address common inquiries, yes, I had documented everything meticulously from the outset, and no, this was not the first, but it was the most severe incident of sabotage. Handling the situation privately was not an option, given it involved a major project worth millions that could have significantly tarnished our company's reputation. However, the fallout from Fiona's dismissal quickly spiraled beyond what I could have anticipated. Shortly after Fiona was let go, an unsettling incident on LinkedIn brought new troubles. A former colleague reached out with concern, puzzled by my recent online portrayal. She forwarded me screenshots of posts made by Fiona that left me aghast. In a detailed narrative on LinkedIn, Fiona accused me of having stolen her coding work and ideas consistently over the past 3 years, claiming I sneaked into her computer to pilfer her projects. A stark falsehood, as all system access was meticulously logged and I never possessed her credentials. Further exacerbating the issue, Fiona alleged I had engaged in sexual harassment towards junior developers under her supervision, threatening their careers if they spoke out. These accusations quickly gained traction, igniting a firestorm within our local tech community. As the narrative spread across various social media platforms, each post seemed to invent new charges against me. The hashtag #CancelAshley became a rallying cry among online detractors, branding me as a fraud and a bully. The viral nature of these claims prompted our company to initiate a comprehensive investigation. This involved scrutinizing system logs, conducting interviews with numerous team members, and reviewing all projects I had managed. Defending my integrity against these baseless accusations was not only humiliating, but also deeply distressing. The repercussions were immediate and severe. 3 prospective clients close to finalizing contracts withdrew their interest, with one explicitly attributing their decision to the ongoing controversy. The atmosphere at work became charged with tension. The ordeal began to take a grave toll on my health. I was plagued by severe insomnia and lost my appetite. Several times, Mark discovered me weeping in our bathroom in the early hours of the morning. The anxiety escalated to such a degree that I experienced panic attacks before meetings, compelling me to take a week off from work. Yet, the deepest cut was still to come. Last Sunday, my father arrived at our house visibly shattered. He had unearthed shocking evidence on the family computer. Camilla, my stepmother, had been actively aiding Fiona in fabricating and disseminating slanderous accusations against me. He found drafts of emails where Camilla and Fiona schemed their campaign to tarnish my reputation. Camilla had even reached out directly to some of our clients, masquerading as a concerned employee, to seed doubts about my integrity. Her intimate knowledge of my career and our family dynamics lent credibility to the lies, and she meticulously helped Fiona tailor the social media onslaught for maximum damage. When confronted by my father, Camilla initially denied the allegations, but eventually confessed when faced with the incontrovertible evidence. Her admission shattered 2 decades of what I believed was a genuine mother-daughter bond. She declared that she was compelled to defend her biological daughter, asserting that blood ties were paramount. Driven by a need for answers, I confronted Camilla at their home. The encounter was raw and revealing. She acknowledged her actions without a hint of remorse. justifying them by claiming her allegiance to Fiona as her true daughter. When I implored her to remember the years she raised me and professed her love, her response was chillingly indifferent. Fiona and Camilla have reached out to our entire extended family, presenting their narrative. Given Camilla's long-standing presence and Fiona's recognized status as a family member, most relatives have sided with them. Only my father, Mark, and a few close family members remain supportive. My Aunt Linda, my dad's sister, has been vocally critical of Camilla, labeling her a manipulative individual, though this offers little consolation now. The repercussions of their actions have escalated to legal territories. Our company's legal team is preparing to sue Fiona for defamation and violating her non-disclosure agreement. The social media posts, combined with Camilla's direct communications with our clients, have breached multiple legal boundaries. Reluctantly, legal action has become unavoidable given their unyielding stance. This ordeal has been a profound eye-opener regarding the true colors of those closest to me. The sister I grew up with, helped academically, and loved deeply has tried to ruin my professional life. The woman I embraced as a mother for 2 decades has now shown that her maternal affections were conditional, reserved only for her biological daughter. The harmonious blended family image I cherished appears to have been an illusion. Doubts about my past cloud my thought. I wonder if there were ever signs of Camilla's true sentiments towards me that I naively overlooked. Mark urges me to cease this self-reproach and to concentrate on our countermeasures. Yet, it's challenging not to reassess every familial interaction I've ever had. Thankfully, my employer has been incredibly supportive amidst this turmoil. In response to the unfolding crisis, the company has engaged a public relations firm and enhanced security, particularly after Fiona's attempted intrusion into our office last week. Despite these protective measures, I remain anxious about the lasting impact this scandal will have on my professional reputation. Each day brings its own set of challenges, and I am doing my best to navigate through this ongoing nightmare. Your supportive messages have been a beacon of hope, and I am grateful for them. Rest assured, we are diligently compiling evidence for the upcoming legal battle, and I have no intention of removing any post detailing Camilla's involvement. Transparency is crucial. The latest twist in this saga is as shocking as it is perplexing. I had not anticipated needing to update you so soon, yet here I am, trying to process a revelation that has completely upended my understanding of Fiona and Camilla's motivations. The reality, it seems, is far more complex and disturbing than anything I could have envisioned. The revelation began with an unexpected late-night call from Chris, Fiona's ex-boyfriend whom she had dated during college. They had parted ways 6 months before Fiona joined my company. I had only met Chris a few times at family events, so seeing his name appear on my phone at 11 p.m. took me by surprise. He was reaching out because he had read about the lawsuit in a local tech newsletter and felt compelled to break his silence. Chris shared that Fiona had never aspired to a career in tech. Her true passion lay in graphic design and digital art, fields where she had dedicated countless hours to perfecting her portfolio and crafting intricate designs. She had even secured an internship at a renowned design agency, which she was thrilled about. However, when Fiona shared this news with Camilla, her reaction was explosive and wholly negative. Camilla berated her for squandering her future, dismissing her artistic aspirations as mere doodling despite the substantial investment in Fiona's computer science education. This conflict stemmed from a deeper, more personal tragedy in Camilla's life. According to Chris, Camilla had a younger sister, Lauren, who had died of cancer 15 years earlier. The sisters had been extremely close, working at the same company and sharing an apartment. Chris believed that Camilla had never truly recovered from Lauren's death and was attempting to replicate that lost sisterly bond through Fiona and me. When I was promoted over Fiona, it disrupted Camilla's fantasy of her daughters working together as equals in the tech field. Unable to accept this new reality, Camilla began to manipulate the narrative between Fiona and me. She fed Fiona lies, suggesting I had confided in her about plans to oust Fiona from the department. To bolster her deceit, Camilla fabricated evidence, creating fake screenshots of conversations in which I supposedly disparaged Fiona's capabilities. Chris showed me texts from Fiona during that period, revealing her feelings of betrayal and confusion. Camilla's manipulation had convinced Fiona that I was envious of her talents and intentionally hindering her progress. The layers of deceit extended further as I learned about the financial control Camilla exerted over Fiona. This control was not just emotional, but had tangible impacts on Fiona's choices and sense of independence. This intricate web of lies and manipulation painted a stark and disturbing picture of the lengths Camilla would go to fulfill her own psychological needs. The control Camilla wielded over Fiona extended to financial aspects. She had co-signed Fiona's student loans and frequently used this as leverage, threatening to cease payments to manipulate her decisions. When Fiona enrolled in online graphic design courses, Camilla monitored her credit card statements and promptly threatened to cut off her financial support upon discovering these classes. The weight of these revelations kept me awake, and by 7 a.m., I found myself driving to confront Camilla at the home she shared with my father. Upon arriving, only Camilla was home. I presented her with everything Chris had shared. Instead of denial, Camilla broke down completely. She lamented the loss of her sister Lauren, detailing their shared life and the profound grief she felt at her passing. She confessed that this loss had fractured her emotionally, leading her to manipulate Fiona and me in a desperate attempt to keep us from drifting apart, as she believed normal siblings might. In her distorted view, fostering a rivalry was preferable to the risk of us growing independent of each other. Camilla rationalized that the painful loss of her sister had instilled a belief that siblings must remain intertwined at any cost. My father returned home amidst our heated discussion, overhearing the shocking admissions. Although he was aware of Lauren's death, he had no knowledge of the psychological toll it had taken on Camilla or her manipulative actions driven by this unresolved trauma. The impact of these revelations was profound for my father. Realizing the extent of Camilla's manipulation, which used his daughters as surrogates for Camilla's lost sisterly relationship, he decided to file for divorce, stating he could not remain with someone who inflicted such harm. To fulfill her emotional voids, Camilla pleaded with him to reconsider, arguing she needed support, not isolation. However, my father's decision was resolute. After leaving their home, I attempted to reach Fiona to share these insights, but to no avail. I sent her a detailed email instead, including screenshots from my discussions with Chris and the confrontation with Camilla, hoping she would understand the full scope of her mother's actions. While the company's lawsuit against Fiona is proceeding, I urge them to consider a settlement that might facilitate her retraction of the false statements and her engagement in therapy. Given Camilla's deep-seated issues, I see Fiona not just as a perpetrator, but also as another victim of our stepmother. Amidst my feelings of anger towards Camilla, sympathy for my father, and concern for Fiona, I am predominantly overwhelmed by the exhaustive depth of this familial crisis. As I continue to grapple with these events, I remain committed to updating on any significant development. Thank you for your ongoing support. Yes, my father is staying with us again, and no, the lawsuit will not be dropped entirely. Fiona must still account for her actions despite the manipulation. Update 3 marks the conclusion of this tumultuous chapter in my life, a period that has stretched over the past 6 months and transformed my existence. The legal battle with Fiona has finally concluded. After extensive negotiations, we reached a settlement last month. As part of the agreement, Fiona was required to publicly retract her accusations on the very platforms she used to disseminate them. Furthermore, she drafted a formal apology acknowledging that her allegations of code theft and harassment were unfounded. The settlement also imposed a significant financial penalty on her, though the company has graciously allowed her to fulfill this obligation through installments over the next 5 years. Fortunately, the resolution of this case has largely restored my professional standing. 2 of the 3 clients who had initially withdrawn their business have since rejoined us, and my team's performance metrics have soared to new heights. Although a few industry peers still regard me with a degree of suspicion, the public retraction has been instrumental in clearing my name. This vindication has opened new doors for me. I've been invited to speak at multiple technology conferences, which has significantly aided in rebuilding my reputation. On a more personal note, Camilla's circumstances have taken a turn for the worse. Following my father's decision to file for divorce, she experienced a severe emotional collapse and was briefly hospitalized. She is currently undergoing intensive therapy to address her long-standing grief concerning her sister Lauren's death. Despite her treatment, Camilla continues to attempt contact through various means, recently leaving a voicemail laden with remorse for the wreckage she's caused in her life due to her inability to move past her grief. I've had to block each new attempt, finding the continuous contact attempts draining. The divorce proceedings between my father and Camilla are progressing, with my father having sold their shared home and purchased a condominium closer to where we live. This change has been beneficial for him. He has resumed playing golf and even joined a local book club. Recently, he shared with me that he has begun dating a widow he met through the club, and he appears more content than he has been in a long time. Perhaps the most significant recent development occurred 3 weeks ago, When Fiona and I met for the first time since the ordeal began, we chose a neutral coffee shop located midway between our cities for our reunion. The meeting was fraught with tension and discomfort, but was a crucial step towards healing. Fiona, now in therapy herself, is starting to see the extent of Camilla's manipulation. She has relocated to Seattle to chase her dream in graphic design, securing some freelance projects and taking classes in the field. During our encounter, Fiona extended heartfelt apologies for her actions, the sabotage, the deceit, and the damaging social media crusade. She expressed deep remorse for letting things spiral so far out of control. I accepted her apology, acknowledging that while I forgave her, rebuilding trust would take time. Our meeting ended in tears from both of us, a cathartic moment that underscored the complicated path towards reconciliation. Before departing from our meeting, Fiona showcased some of her graphic design work. It was evident she possesses genuine talent, and the joy it brings her was palpable. On a personal note, I've taken a significant step in my own career. I've accepted a position as director of engineering at a new company in Austin, where Mark and I will be relocating next month. This advancement and the upcoming move promise a much-needed change of scenery. During the recruitment process, I was transparent with my new employer about the recent tumultuous events. They commended the professionalism I maintained throughout the ordeal, despite the personal challenges it posed. As for Fiona, while I'm not severing ties completely, I am maintaining a cautious distance. Our interactions are sporadic and stick to safe topics such as her design projects or updates about my new home in Austin. The possibility of fully mending our relationship remains open, but for the time being, maintaining this space feels appropriate. Meanwhile, my father plans to stay actively involved in our lives despite the distance. He's already scheduled to spend Christmas with us in Austin. Through everything, Mark has been an unwavering source of strength, and we both look forward to a fresh start in a new city. Camilla, however, continues to reach out through letters sent to my current address. I've requested that my father's attorney issue a cease and desist letter to her, though I'm uncertain of its impact. Occasionally, I find myself reading her letters before destroying them. They are invariably filled with remorse and attempts at explanation. Always circling back to her sister Lauren and the grief she cannot seem to overcome, it's clear that healing is a journey Camilla must undertake on her own. This entire saga has profoundly reshaped my understanding of what constitutes family. It's not solely about blood ties or a shared past, but about trust, respect, and the choice to support each other, especially in challenging times. When these foundational elements are compromised, no amount of nostalgia can repair the relationship. Sometimes the healthiest decision is to forge a new path forward. I am immensely grateful for the support I've received throughout this ordeal. Now, it's time for me to concentrate on my future and allow the past to remain just that, past. Thank you to everyone who stood by me as I navigated these trying times.